I want to welcome all of you. It's amazing to see so many friends from around the world and colleagues. I'm so grateful for each of you for taking the time out of very busy, hectic schedules to come and join us for these coming days. As you know, tonight we're opening the Global Gender Retreat with also the giving the Gender Seal Awards tonight, and it's really a pleasure to be able to hand out the awards in front of an audience of peers who can listen to what I listened to last time we convened the award ceremony, which is the rich, wonderful experience of this Gender Seal program, what the country offices are getting out of it, and what results are being achieved because of it. So I was thrilled that we were able to combine these two events and give the country offices the recognition that they really deserve. I want you to be assured that, and I was very happy to see my colleagues from communications here, to give as much attention and recognition to the work that you've done to well deserve the awards you're going to receive tonight. Let me just say I'm really delighted that we have some external participants who have joined us. They're partners who you will meet over the course of the next few days. I won't name anyone because I will surely forget to name someone and don't want to do that. But we have external participants who are our partners that we work with, civil society partners, expert advisors to our organization, and we're delighted that you could be here with us, share your experiences and your reflections on our work, and exchange with us and give us a different way of thinking and looking at what we do and what's going on in the world today. So I want to thank you. I want to thank all of you who have joined us. I thank our senior management who show a tremendous commitment. I know since I've been in this position, I have counted on your leadership and your support, and I'm truly grateful for that. I don't think our organization would have made the achievements that we have without that support, and I thank you for joining us to recognize the work that our colleagues are doing around the world. So I'm not going to speak any further. I will hand over the floor to Magdi, who will open with some opening remarks and then be the master of ceremony for the Gender Seal Award ceremony. Is that what you are? Yes. And before I close, let me just thank the colleagues in my team who worked really hard to pull this together, and I will thank them more at the end of the next 3 days. But bon appetit. Thank you very much for joining us. Magdi, all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Randy. Thank you all for being here. I join you in thanking my colleagues, the senior leadership of the organization, directors, deputy directors, resident coordinators, deputy res reps of UNDP, all the colleagues of the gender team, colleagues from other bureaus and partners who are with us. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the opening of our global gender retreat in UNDP. I would like to thank you for being UNDP's gender equality champions, the leaders who place equality well at the center of our development work, of our institutional work, and perhaps at an opportune moment for UNDP when we are working under a new framework, the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals, which are crisscrossed with gender equality infusion, when we're putting the final touches and handing over our best drafts of the strategic plan to our administrator designate for him to take this work forward, when we are preparing to have soon our new and third gender equality strategy in the organization, one of the few strategies of UNDP that is monitored and overseen by the board directly, and of course at a time when we have a new Secretary General at the helm of the United Nations, who immediately, as you have heard him, underscored gender equality as a key priority. So these are not few changes that give us a powerful opportunity to move forward. As the United Nations development leader, we will continue to play a key role to help our program countries achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We're a convener, we're also a connector. It has been said very often that we have a very powerful platform with which we connect the dots across the SDGs. We're a peculiar doer because we're a thinker, and we are a better thinker because we are a doer. And there is no more pertinent cross-cutting issue, no more pertinent dot connected across everything we do than gender equality, the mother of all equalities. As you know, the 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable The 2030 Agenda and the Sustainable Development Goals affirm gender equality as a human right, as a goal on its own, and as an integral component of the achievement across the goals. This affirmation of gender equality as an accelerator of development is reflected in 24 targets throughout the goals. This affirmation of gender equality goes through work, agriculture, productivity, hunger, health, nutrition, water and sanitation, energy and environment, political participation, sustainable cities and communities. I could go on and on. To reinforce these, the 9 targets in the SDGs 5 are devoted to advancing gender equality, primarily by addressing structural barriers such as violence against women and girls, harmful practices, discriminatory laws, sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights, distribution of unpaid care work, access to productive resources, and women's participation in decision-making. As I mention sexual and reproductive rights and health, let me pause for a second and ask you for a minute of silence to remember Professor Babatunde Oshotimehin, the Executive Director of UNFPA. Thank you very much. I was just working 3 weeks ago with the Prof on preparing his intervention as the principal for the spring meetings of the IMF and the World Bank, where he represented the UN in the meeting against the famine in the 4 countries, and went to his place to discuss his speech and his intervention. Smiling as always, soft-spoken as always, elegant and careful as always to try to understand the pros and cons and the different agendas at play. No question, a leader in favor of gender equality and somebody we will keep in our hearts and in our thoughts. The concept of leaving no one behind is very important in the 2030 Agenda. When we look at who is marginalized, whose voices are too often unheard, whose contributions go uncounted, and who do not have equal access to basic services and rights, we immediately see women and girls, almost in every society, rich, middle income, or poor. Poor women and poor girls in particular are the victims of profound inequality. So if we're serious about leaving no one behind, of course we will work against poverty, of course we will work with persons living with disabilities, of course we will look at refugees and forcibly displaced people, people living with HIV and AIDS. We will look at indigenous communities and minorities, but we would absolutely address the inequalities between men and women that affect women in an insufferable way. The organization, and I say it knowing how much we have conquered, how much we have progressed, how much we have advanced, but still the organization is not strong enough, not committed enough, not convinced enough. We have progressed a lot, but we're not yet where we should be. The challenges speak for themselves, and there continue to be major disparities between the number of men and women in all walks of life, in all aspects of life. If you look at political leadership role, it's 23% of women in parliament, 19% of the speakers. If you look at heads of state or government, 7%. Economic gender gaps persist as well. For equal work, there is no equal pay. There's 3/4 of equal pay. It means that women are taken away 25% of their rightful earning every time they go to work, every day, in every country. Formal disparities of labor force participation, with 47% of women worldwide in the labor force compared to 72% of men, represent a gap in income, in protection, in formality that is equally there. And throughout the world, women are time poor, something that I studied when I was in Mexico with INEGI. You will remember, Jessica and Susan, the studies about the use of time that were so different for men and for women, where women are disproportionately burdened with unpaid care work, which deprives them of time to earn money and engage in entrepreneurial and other activities. And of course, I haven't even started talking about the most dramatic impact on gender equality and women's empowerment, that is violence against women. 1 out of every 3 women has experienced physical or sexual violence in their lifetime, and 2 out of 3 victims of intimate partner or family-related homicides are women. And I have to say, the divide is not developing and developed. My country is a shameful example of violence against women and of incapacity of the political system to respond through legislation, through support, through police action, through judiciary, through any of the means at the disposal of the public power. It seems that we are facing a plague that we're incapable of redressing. In recent years, more attention has been given to sexual violence in conflict, for instance, but with an increasing number of countries experiencing fragility, this is an issue of the utmost urgency, both for women and for sustainable peace, if we want to call it such. Added to these are current global challenges, all of which have unique and specific impacts on women. A profound displacement crisis that has left millions of women in hardship, increasing migration, with often results in women being left behind to fend for their families with limited access to services and livelihoods, the rise of violent extremism with its draconian restriction on women's rights, a rollback in many contexts on the sexual and reproductive rights that are the cornerstone of gender equality, a neoconservative agenda that creeps up in this matter, and the escalating challenges of climate change and climate-related disaster, which have, as we know, as science has evidenced, a disproportionate impact on women. So in the face of these challenges, women have demonstrated for decades that they're powerful agents of change. It is not enough for women to be. Millions of men must join the cause, and that is why we are here today. It is my pleasure to open the Gender Equality Seal ceremony to celebrate the important progress that our country offices have made on gender equality and women's empowerment through the 2015-2016 round of UNDP's Gender Equality Seal. As you know, the Gender Equality Seal recognizes the progress and successes of country offices in strengthening links between gender equality inside the office and development results that we produce outside of the office. Through their engagement in this initiative, the country offices receiving the Gender Equality Seal Award today have helped to improve the lives of women and men throughout the world in the countries they serve. These offices have made considerable progress on gender mainstreaming, on building credibility for UNDP as a committed advocate for gender equality, on creating a great working environment for women and for men inside of the walls of the office, for improving or even achieving gender parity, for having proactive senior managers, men and women, who are leading from the front and displaying consistent commitment to gender equality and women's rights issues, both internally and in public platforms, walking the talk. The offices receiving awards today have built strong partnerships with their governments and other actors within and outside the UN system that had clear gender equality impacts. They have supported countries to advance gender equality through a myriad of ways, from establishing legal and policy frameworks to creating space for women's participation in national political processes or the economy, fighting gender-based violence, and this is what the Gender Seal brings to the organization. A clear roadmap to promote gender equality in the workplace and enhance organizational effectiveness to better deliver gender equality results in our development work. So, to start with the ceremony, it is my great pleasure to begin perhaps the most exciting part of this ceremony, dinner aside, the presentation of the Gender Equality Seal Awards. I would like to begin by inviting our colleague Ruby Sandhu-Rojon, the Deputy Director of the Regional Bureau for Africa, to present the awards for country officers from the Regional Bureau for Africa. Ruby, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Magdi, and it's very much a pleasure for us to be here, and especially for the Africa Bureau, because we have some real winners this evening. I want to first start off with Uganda, because Uganda country office has gotten the highest seal, gold. So congratulations to the Uganda country office. This is particularly for the work that you have done in ensuring that we are able to introduce gender and women into areas of energy, environment, infrastructure, mining. So you've opened up non-traditional areas. Let me invite Almaz Gebru, the country director, as well as Nicolas to join us. Nicolas, the gender focal point. You will see that we have a very gender-balanced team from Uganda, so please.
Okay. All senior managers of UNDP and protocol observed. On behalf of UNDP country office in Uganda, I would like to thank you for honoring our efforts and achieving by certifying us as a gold country office. The UNDP country office entered the 2015-2016 race in 2014 August. Long journey, eh? For us in Uganda, the gender seal process confirms that every finish line is the beginning of a new race. As a gold certified office, our strength does not only lie in meeting the requirements of gold, but learning into leadership, office practice, and culture of the organization. This is because the seal has been a culture shift for our country office and not just a matrix of indicators. The indicators are tools of engagement, learning and unlearning cultures, and transforming leadership and management style into the country office at all levels. Our capacities have been enhanced through experiential learning and critical reflections across all levels. Our credibility among us national partners has been strengthened by ensuring that our programming is partner-led, government-aligned, and issue-based. We have made substantive contribution to Uganda's gender landscape by seeking complementarity between UNDP, UN Women, and other agencies in supporting the national gender machinery, the parliamentarians, women movement, and private sector. We pledge to renew our commitment to the UNDP Global Gender Equality Strategy by continuously revising our gender action plan and strategy and strengthening in our in-house capacities. Our gains in programming and partnership will be consolidated by ensuring that our management systems continue to promote substantive positive attitudes toward this gender equality among us staff, different levels of decision making, and making everyone feel included and needed in the going of the country office. Happy to let you know that going beyond the gold is our mantra. Finally, I want to say big thank you to the RBA leadership for encouraging and support, to the gender team on the Regional Service Center colleagues for their unreserved guidance and technical support. I thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. We didn't stop there. We kept on going. So now let me call upon the UNDP country office of Rwanda, also for the gold, Stephen Rodriguez. And Rwanda is known because they introduced the whole gender seal along with the private sector, and they have overturned the thinking about women's capacities to handle technologies. Stephen, as the chair of the gender focal group, couldn't have done it alone without Lamine, who was the resident representative, resident coordinator, but who is now going to go on to be the director at the hub in Addis. So we also will expect a lot more gold in the next year. So congratulations, Stephen.
So we can take a photo together. Thank you very much, Ruby, and good evening, colleagues. This feels like one of those Academy Award moments when I should be thanking my family and my director. But let me first start by just very briefly thanking Magdi, Randy, Raquel, and the gender team. As I commented earlier, I think this is one of those occasions in UNDP that you've created something that has transformed the way offices work. Not a policy, not a guideline, but a tool that has changed the way we work. Let me also say that I'm deeply honored to be accepting this award on behalf of the country office. As Ruby says, it has come with the leadership that Lamine has provided, a lot of commitment, but also a lot of hard work over a number of years. The office was previously certified bronze when I took over, and it's been a lot of work to get to gold. And I'm really honored to be accepting this on behalf of the team. Now, I should also say, it's very rewarding not just to receive the gold certification, but perhaps more importantly, to see the changes that has come about as a result of this program. Both changes within the office, and it's a completely different environment within our country office. And as I said earlier, you can see it in the GSS results. 100% of staff are proud to work for UNDP, and it's one of the highest engagement rates across the world. So this is creating an environment for every male, every female staff within the office to feel motivated, energized. And likewise, the changes in our programs. Over the years, we have done quite a lot, including the constitutional changes that led to Rwanda having the highest rates of women in parliament, 64%. UNDP supported those things. Every political party has a women's political wing, supported by UNDP. There are now 10 media houses run by women, supported by UNDP, and it goes on and on. This award has given us additional motivation. And as Ruby mentioned, we're launching the Gender and the Private Sector Initiative. We're working on the first Women's Investment Fund initiative. We're working on a women's situation, room for elections, and many other things. So it's been a tremendous program, Randy, Magni, and team. And as I said, it's not just a mechanical process, but a process that leads to real changes, both in the way offices work, but also in the impact on the lives of people out there. Thank you all very much.
Comme on dit en français, jamais deux sans trois. So I want to recognize also a third gold seal for DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, who unfortunately will be arriving tomorrow, but I do want you to know that they really also got the gold. So DRC. Let me now move on to the next category, keeping in mind that our expectations for next year are very high, but also recognizing all of the good work that you have done and really, really recognizing especially UNDP Zimbabwe going through some very complex issues and yet able to get the silver. So I'd like to welcome Bishop. Please join us now. Congratulations.
I need a photo.
This photo.
I won't say much, but I really want to thank the gender team in New York, of course, under the leadership of Magdi. And it's so wonderful to see many of the colleagues I haven't seen for many years. And I'm really honored and humbled to be here, receiving on behalf of Zimbabwe Country Office this SEAL Award. So I want to really give a big tribute to all my colleagues who have really worked hard towards this SEAL Award. What I find on the SEAL, as some of the colleagues have already said, is, it puts us to check ourselves. What have we been doing? And what are the elements there we can do better? And I find it extremely useful tool and to, in a way, not work towards the SEAL itself or our SEAL, but to deliver results. And I think that is really fascinating about it. I have to say, I joined Zimbabwe about 3 years ago, and I hadn't heard much about the SEAL issue. Last year, a year after I came, I heard about this SEAL, and I challenged to my team, I said, we are doing so much things, and there are so many challenging issues in Zimbabwe. So why is it we are behind? Why can't we push it? So I put a gender specialist. I said, I want us to get a gold award. And I said, you tell me what you need, but we will deliver that, but are you going to give us the gold? So the whole team worked. We had a task force set up, and we looked at everything collectively. As Ruby said, and I have challenged my colleagues, maybe next time they will come and collect the gold here. So there is a competition for Rwanda and DRC and other colleagues. Anyway, I want to really thank the colleagues for this initiative. Zimbabwe has many challenges from gender point of view. There's a big problem related to economic empowerment. There is a big problem related to violence, child marriage, unemployment, unequal opportunities. But we have turned that around. With the constitution, a new constitution brought in, and UNDP support, we push towards a quota. We have a 35% quota now from 0. Similarly, in terms of child marriage, there has been a law brought in to ban child marriage. In terms of all our relief, humanitarian, resilience work, we set equality in terms of gender, in terms of receiving all support. And also in the context of employment within our office, we have said 50-50, and we are around 49%. So I think we are moving towards goal. And it doesn't, it's not somebody has said, sort of ticking the box, but we want to bring a changes and improvement in the people's life in Zimbabwe and bring equality. I think that's fundamental. And without that equality, we cannot reach SDG Agenda 30. So we have to commit, and we are committed for it. Thank you very much indeed.
Bishop, don't forget your award. So we're not done yet, but we have other awards for which, unfortunately, the country offices are not present here. So I will hand over to Magdi.
But don't go away. Don't go away, because you will receive, on behalf of RBA, the certificates of the country offices that cannot be with us today. I understand that we have silver for Benin, Senegal, and Tanzania, bronze for Burkina Faso, Sierra Leone, and South Sudan, Guinea, Lesotho, Madagascar, and it is a bronze for Niger. And I would also like to note that Côte d'Ivoire has made great progress and is currently in the process of an appraisal to receive the gold certificate. I'm sure that somebody is already texting to Babacar so that he is aware of what is going on here. So congratulations to RBA, to you, for your leadership, to Mark, and to Odette, our gender advisor in Addis. We will continue with the program, but let me step for 1 second out of script and share an anecdote with you of long years of professional career in law, in university, in politics, and in the UN. I made a count the other day, and 3/4 of that time I have had a woman boss. And I think that is important. It's important because it means that the organizations are changing, but I think it is important in the professional life, the personal life of one. And I have always been impressed by the women leaders that we have today in UNDP, of course, Jessica and Susan and Ruby and Sarah Chihan, Randy in our team, 59 res reps, resident coordinators that we have in UNDP. But I wanted to ask you to reflect for a second, not so much on the women leaders, but I wanted to say how proud I am of the committed men that have also helped bring UNDP to be a gender equality leader. It's, dear colleagues, it is not easy to be at par under your careful watch of a generation of women leaders like you. And we make our best effort, but it is a demanding job, a job of coherence and a job of consistency. So please a hand for Hauliang and Martin and Bichon and Lamine and Rasto and the other 69, and Murad, and the other 69 res reps that we have, and who are also champions in gender equality. I think it is fair to recognize that we do this together. And next, I am delighted to invite Jessica Fayetta, Director for Latin America and the Caribbean, to offer the awards for RBLAC.
Thank you very much, Magdi, and thank you to the gender team of BPPS, who do a wonderful work, and we want to recognize in particular our team in Latin America, Eugenia Pisa-Lopez, who's here, with also Diana Gutierrez, Barbara Auricho, and Guillermina Martin. They're wonderful team, so thank you very much. BPPS organizes great events. In fact, yesterday I was taken on a boat ride. It was really great events. But I have to tell you that of all the events, this is the one that we are all most enthusiastic to be in, because we recognize not only the great effort of our country offices, but something that UNDP has been known for, and is really our commitment for gender, our advancement, and something that we actually excel for. And that's why I also want to recognize the leadership of Magdi. He has turned out to be like that because of so many women bosses. So thank you for this, and of course, Randy and her team. And I also have to tell you that, let me brag a little bit, by the gender initiative, the Gender Seal Initiative actually started in Latin America. It was invented in Latin America. So we are very proud of this contribution to the corporate world, but it's something that we're actually so excited to see that it has, that so many offices have embraced something that started being part of our region, of our few offices. So in this, let me start by recognizing the winner of the Gold Seal this year, which is Dominican Republic. Last year that I visited Dominican Republic, when I was going around the office, I was being briefed about their many. Luciana told me with of course, Raisa telling me, we are also working on our gender seal, and we're going for the gold. Yes, well, that's a lot of work, but maybe you should start. No, we're going for the gold, and here they are. They're getting the gold. So congratulations! It's a fantastic. In this office, starting with the architecture that they have put in place, they have 4 people gender unit that is recognized internally, externally within the country for their excellence, for their expertise, for the contributions. And they will tell a little bit more, but we already know that they have done a great job in especially ensuring the women's political rights. They can claim some credit for increasing the number of women representatives from 21 to 28%, of the number of women mayor from 7 to 12%, and of course in helping the Congress adopt a bill for the eradication of gender violence. So, of course, our raising coordinator, who's not here, Lorenzo Jimenez, is we want to recognize him, but in particular, Luciana Mermet, the deputy, and Raisa Crespo, who are so congratulations. Thank you, Luciana.
Okay, well, thank you. This really feels like an Oscar moment. I really want to say that both, I think I speak on Raisa's behalf as well. For us, it's a great honor to be here, not only receiving this award, but also sharing with the gender community of practice of UNDP this week, this Gender Week. I would like to first recognize Magdi, and of course, Randy, Raquel, the whole gender team, the fantastic Latin America and Caribbean gender team, Eugenia. Thank you so much, because thanks to you, we've been really inspired, and we've reached higher in this very tough journey. But most of all, I would like to recognize Jessica and also Susan, who's here. She was, during this process, our deputy director. Jessica and Susan have been to us these very inspiring women leaders in the Bureau, and they've always challenged us to reach higher. And yes, we made it to the goal, Jessica. This is a prize that an award that we are receiving on behalf of an incredibly committed country office. They all wanted to come. Actually, there was this joke, and this is by way of anecdote. There was this joke going around in the office in the gender equality team, which is our focal team for this process, but in general, for the gender mainstreaming, that there would be a raffle for a prize to come to New York with us. Unfortunately, of course, they couldn't make it, but we do feel a huge responsibility in bringing this award to the office, because with this award, we are setting the expectation and setting the bar higher for us in terms of the work we are doing, but also in terms of the organizational change that began, I want to say, not only 2 years ago with the process itself, but really many years ago with the gender work that the office has been carrying forward. As you know, and we discussed this today in our workshop, the Dominican Republic is a high-income country, middle-income country. It's a high human development country, and even so, we do see so many gender-related gaps that make our work so much more important in a context such as this, because we do see how these gender inequalities are pulling down the human development progress. So I think we think that this certification will help us bring attention to this work, to bring about organizational change, but especially to consolidate the work we are implementing in terms of the support to the national gender machinery and the advocacy work, gender-based violence, political participation, and so on and so forth. We are really thankful. I'm going to finish here because we said we only had 2 minutes. I just want to say that we are very thankful for having had the opportunity to examine our own work, our own practices. It has been an internal examination for many of us, and the best possible result for us was not only the organizational change, but the recollection that we have of changes at the personal level of the lives of the staff, and this is for us the most enduring result of this process. So we will keep on reaching higher, and we are already working for our recertification. Thank you so much.
Okay, next I want to recognize our country office in Colombia with the silver certification. So congratulations to Martin Santiago, the resident coordinator, and of course with him also Maria Melo, the gender focal point, as well as Inca Matila, the deputy resident representative. So let me give you a little bit
For them,
of
yes.
them. Martin is not new. He's not new in, as we know, he's not new in the business gender equality. I think he has been a number of times, and we know of his commitment with the gender equality and also his leadership. So I'm very happy to have him here. In the case of Colombia, this is an office that has contributed has made very important contributions, especially in increasing the access of justice to women victims of sexual violence in armed conflict, something very important in the context of Colombia right now, and as well as a legislative initiative to achieve gender parity in parliament. Certainly their work and they have a very strong gender equality strategy and a gender team, and their work in mainstreaming is recognized. So congratulations, Martin, and to your team as well for your leadership. And we expect a lot, and the goal next time you come around.
Muchas gracias, Jessica. Thank you very much. Magdi, Randy, Susan, Julian, Murat, Rasto, Ruby. Your presence here, I think it really means a lot for UNDP, and your commitment to gender equality and gender mainstreaming as an instrument to really make a difference in the societies that we serve. I think it's time for celebration, and it's not time for words. But in any case, I'm just going to be sharing with you a few thoughts on behalf of the team that I represent here, which is the team in Colombia. But let me, before just going to those remarks, to say congratulations to all the country officers, to all the colleagues who have won. So let me ask you to give a big round of applause to all of them, because I know that this is great. As I said, it's a time of celebration tonight. For me, I think I'm humbled and an honor and privilege to get this recognition on behalf of the UN country team in Colombia. I've been there, it's not my virtue. I've been supporting the team. I've been there only for 8 months. So I think this recognition is paying tribute to that team that I'm very proud to be part of. But I think it's a team that has really made tremendous efforts over the year to try to translate gender mainstreaming into strategy and concrete investments to really attain gender equality results as a key element for sustainable development and peace in a country that is trying to turn page of violence and conflict. So let me, with these words, to really pay tribute as well to Magdi and Randy and Raquel, because I think that you've really are given to UNDP something which is of tremendous value. The gender seal, I think, in some ways is moving the frontier, is moving the organization forward, not only as a catalyst, the seal as a catalyst for change and as a driver for transformation, but I think it's moving the frontier in terms of the thinking and practice of development, in terms of institutional arrangements, development effectiveness, leaderships, and capacities. Also, my recognition, my admiration, my gratitude goes to Maria Eugenia, to Jessica, to Susan. I mean, our colleagues in the bureau who for the wonderful support, leadership, and obviously the advice that we need in order to try to move this kind of work forward. And also congratulating, as I said, UNDP, because I think that we have a wonderful opportunity, because now we are in this 23rd new era or environment, because I mean, I think that we have a really bien público, a public good for UNDP, because Raquel, Randy, this is something that really matters, and I think is I think it is a good instrument and is a smart and a clever thing to do. Finally, let me conclude saying that I'm too old. I'm like a piece of a museum for UNDP. I've been with this adventure, with this journey for nearly from the very beginning. So this is the third time I'm just getting this recognition. I was with Andrea. Thank you very much, Andrea, because you're here, and you should be recognized as well. So I was with Argentina with the gold. I was with Panama, Fernando, that you're going to get the. I was with Panama with silver, and now I'm with Colombia with silver again. I think it's been a long process, but let me tell you from the bottom of my heart that it's been inspirational and enriching. And let me tell you that it really means a lot for the organization, because it really goes what the organization has something to contribute and what really matters, which is equality is not. I'm not going to be repeating what you said, Magdi, because I mean it was so inspirational as well. But the thing is that when we're talking about gender equality, we're talking about not only a moral and ethical imperative, it's a fundamental issue of human rights, but I think equality between women and men is a key driver in order to get the quality of results that we are pursuing at the country level. So on behalf of the country team, let me tell that I'm honored and proud, and in particular this, as I said, at this historical moment that Colombia is living, we strongly believe that peace and sustainable development can only be achieved through the full participation of women in all spheres of society, but closing the gender gaps that we are seeing in all our societies. We really can make a difference, and we can change the situation of people's lives with gender equality, so thank you very much.
Now let me recognize the Panama Country Office, we are also awarding the Silver Award. And this is a special country office where the senior leadership, and now Fernando as the deputy who will come, but before him was Martin, and now currently also Harold. There's been a consistent commitment from the management and from the country offices, especially to create an enabling environment for the mainstreaming, to work very closely with the women's organizations, with the ministries, with the UN, very well recognized in the country, as well as among the UN community that sits in Panama. So congratulations, Fernando, to you and to Maria Fernanda Trueba as well for this wonderful achievement. And we hope to see you, as we have Martin many times here. So it's
Thank you very much. Alex Martin, please join me, because this belongs to you as much as to anybody else in the country office. Well, first of all, I would like to start by thanking, I'm really honored and humbled for receiving this award. This award belongs to many people. I'm just the lucky one coming to New York to receive it. But first of all, I would like to thank the senior management in RBLEC, Jessica, Susan. It is very clear that your leadership in this area is being fundamental for many country offices to engage full-heartedly in this exercise. I would like to also recognize BPPPS, Magdi and his team, Randy, Raquel, always supporting us in the country office in this journey, as well as the Miro team in Panama with Eugenia, with Barbara, with Guillermina. Thank you very much, because we couldn't have made it without you. I have to be recognizing very much the efforts of each and every one of the staff in the country office, both program and office. They are true believers of this exercise. They made an incredible job. And without them, obviously, we wouldn't have reached this far. And I would like to single out particularly our gender specialist, Maria Fernanda Trueba, who really did an incredible job, I think, in supporting the whole country office. That is as far as the thanking note is concerned. Then, talking on the substance of the exercise, I would like to just summarize by saying that it has really been transformational for the country office. Before coming to New York, we sat down and we discussed what would be the message we would like to convey. And of course, we're very proud of the jump ahead that we have done in the indicators. When the measure was took, I think we stand in 54%. We ended up in 80%. That was very good. Gender marker went up. We have a monitoring and evaluation strategy. We have a gender strategy. We review our HR policies. But before coming to New York, we discussed and we thought, well, we're very proud of those indicators. We are not going to renegade of any of them. But even if we have achieved less, we would feel as proud. Because we thought that the good thing about this exercise is that it is about human rights, it is about justice, but it's got also another thing that I think needs to be put in the mix, which is mystic. People really believe in this thing, and I think that through this exercise we have achieved what is not measurable in terms of indicators, but I think we have very much a country office in power that believes in the rationale and the need to implement this kind of exercise, and it's very, very fulfilling to see that now it's not, as I was explaining this morning, the gender specialists going to the program people say, why don't you think about this or that? It's the other way around. They are coming to us to say, we have a lot of ideas to keep on working on gender equality issues, both in program and operations. Help us do it. Thank you very much.
Finally, I want to congratulate our office in Suriname, who is getting the Bronze Award. So congratulations to Armstrong Alexis, the Deputy Resident Representative of Suriname, and of course his resident coordinator who sits in Trinidad actually, Richard Blewett. Suriname is a very small office, and they have worked very hard, I think, as different from many other offices who have perhaps more resources, and not diminishing the merit of anyone. I think the effort in Suriname has been extraordinary, and certainly also their achievements have been historic in terms of helping the increase of female MPs from 9% to 26% following the 2015 elections, and of course Armstrong has been a true leader in this, and Armstrong knows that the Caribbean arm in Spanish we say mis consentidos, no? They're a little spoiled by me. So thank you, and I'm very proud to be able to present this award to you, Armstrong, and to congratulate you and all your office and your colleagues on this, so congratulations. Show the award for this.
Well, thank you very much, Jessica. Without the element of surprise and with the welcome absence of palpitating anticipation and anxiety over the eventual winner, this is my Oscar moment that I've been dreaming of for many years. I therefore accept this award. Knowing full well that at this juncture of challenging discourse and uncertain ramifications of the epic consequences affecting our organization and the globe, our resolve to attain greater levels of gender equality has never been more relevant. As the smallest country office in the LAC region, my country office embarked upon the SEAL challenge against the backdrop of heightened gender imbalances, including unequal pay for work, women occupying the lower echelons of the job market, significant levels of gender-based violence, and woefully inadequate resources to rebalance this historically entrenched differences with which we treat our women folk. Achieving bronze today should not be interpreted as occupying the third place on our journey to build a greater awareness and to address issues of gender inequalities. It is, however, a recognition that the inconvenient truth of dreadfully inadequate attention on gender balance and gender-proofing interventions in programs, projects, and across the offices of the UNDP has now kicked off in Suriname and will be sustained through iterations of silver and gold as we move into the future. As the Oscar moment that this is, I have a long list of people to thank. And I want to start with the leadership of UNDP under Magdi's leadership, the leadership of the Bureau with Jessica and our former Deputy Regional Director, Susan, and the team at our regional center with Eugenia and her team in Panama. I also want to thank my non-resident representative, Mr. Richard Blewett, for his guidance and his offer of latitude to allow us in Suriname to do as much as we can and to do the extraordinary. I also want to thank my program officer and focal point on gender, Miriam Hubbard, who obviously is not here with us today, without whom the collective efforts of the country office would not have been materialized. And of course, as I mentioned during the meeting today, I want to take the time to thank our former intern, Wibke Bender, from Germany, who painstakingly ensured that the nuts and bolts of the gender seal requirements were satisfactorily met. A very big thank you to my entire staff at UNDP Suriname, whose cooperation, interest, enthusiasm, inquiring predisposition, and the intrinsic desire to achieve made it possible for us to meet the requirements of the seal. I think we started at 0, and we ended at 69.5%. This is for us a step in the right direction and a step of a journey towards gold. In the words of our former administrator, Helen Clark, the time is now to resolve to clear away the barriers to gender inequality in the world of work and all other spheres. UNDP Suriname will continue to advance this cause, and we thank you for joining us on this journey. Thank you.
So congratulations to all the Latin American and Caribbean offices. We have one more who's not here. I say this or you say this?
I will give to you. I will. It is my pleasure to now give the certificate of the country office that cannot be without today to Jessica, and this is the silver seal for Jamaica. As many and as many of you have said, I would like to congratulate not only RBLAC, but also very specifically the team that works with Eugenia Pizza Lopez, Diana Gutierrez, Barbara Oriquio, Guillermina Martin for their leadership in supporting Gender Equality SEAL initiative in RBLAC. Many of you know that I'm a little bit of an RBLAC staff, and when before Jessica and Susan, there was Heraldo and Jessica, and before that, there was Rebecca and Martin, and Rebecca and Nikki, and they sent me as a res rep to Mexico. And when I got there, I say it because two of my colleagues, when I arrived there, all the leadership was women, except Diego and Arnaud, who was the deputy. And then Arnaud left, and Mari Carmen Sacasa came. So all the leadership were women except Diego and I. And Diego has left for New York to be in the gender team, And finally, Jessica appointed Marcia de Castro as the resident representative, first woman resident representative in Mexico since 1963. So a good story, and Arblag has a lot to be proud of. And next, I'm delighted to call somebody who has also a lot to be proud of, Rastislav Rensky, the Deputy Director of the Regional Bureau for Europe and the CIS, to present the awards for Arbeg. Rasto, yours is the floor.
Thank you very much, and it's really a great honor to be here tonight and see so many friends around the tables. And of course, in Europe and CIS, we are also extremely committed to gender equality. I was just counting how many women RCs we have, and we have more than 50%, which we are very proud of. And of course, our country offices took the initiative of participating in Gender Seal exercise with overwhelming support, and we have now 7 country offices which are going to be awarded tonight. So I would like to thank you, Magdi and Randy, for your leadership, and of course I would like to thank our small but extremely efficient and proactive team in Istanbul, Barati and Barbara, who have been supporting our country offices through the process. We are also very active in trying to advance private sector seal, and because of some of the very, very strong private sector in our region, we are very enthusiastic about it, and we are also very committed to be among the first regional hubs to get gender seal also for our regional presence. So let us start with the countries. The first one, which received the gold, is Moldova. Moldova is one of our high-performance offices, beautifully positioned program. UNDP is really a big player in the country across the area, including gender equality. And as you know, in gender equality, you need to work in various areas. So, of course, we are pushing for a political participation, and the quota law, which we managed to get through the parliament in 2016, is already showing some results. We also understand that disaggregated data in this area is extremely important for advocacy and evidence-based policy making. So we work very closely with Statistical Office, and of course we work also on economic empowerment. So I would like to invite my colleague, dear friend, Dafina Gercheva, UN resident coordinator and UNDP resident representative here, but also I would like to recognize our other dear colleagues, Alia and Victoria. We all know that this kind of stuff is largely done by our national staff. So really, really well done. And I would like to present you with the award, and congratulations. Well done.
Rastio, thank you so much. Dear colleagues, dear friends, I'm extremely excited. I'm humbled, I'm honored to receive this award, which is a token of recognition of our hard work and our efforts to transform UNDP Moldova into a gender equality champion, into a role model, and also to position UNDP Moldova as a go-to agency for advancing sustainable development and for promoting human rights, social cohesion, and social inclusion. I would like to take this opportunity and extend our heartfelt and sincere thanks to the senior management of Arbeg, to Jihan and Rastio, to the senior management of BPPS, to Magdi, Randy, Raquel, and of course to our dear friends in Istanbul Regional Hub, to Barati and Barbara. This award belongs to the entire UNDP team. And I'm really privileged and I'm very lucky to lead a team of highly motivated professionals who are dedicated and who are also very passionate about sustainable development, about human rights, about gender equality, and who are always willing to go an extra mile and support their country's efforts to build a modern and prosperous state. We learned a lot. This journey has been extremely exciting, and it has been truly transformational. This competition could have not been organized in a more appropriate and opportune time. With the new Agenda 2013 and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which came into effect last January, a strong impetus has been given to all of us, really to push boundaries and make sure that no one is left behind. This award for us is a very important milestone on the road to peace and prosperity in Moldova. However, this is not the end of the journey. There is a lot which we need to do, hence we remain committed to continue advancing this agenda, to continue breaking down the barriers which held women back, and to continue advancing sustainable development. I would also like to take this opportunity and congratulate all the participants in this important competition, because now we are one step closer to ensuring that all women and all girls have equal opportunities and we all will enjoy peaceful and prosperous future. Thank you so much. And I forgot to extend my personal sincere thanks to these two ladies, Ala and Victoria, without whom we would have not been able to win. Big thank you.
So thank you very much to Moldova team. So second gold for our region is very special for me, because actually Montenegro received the gold when I was RCRR there, and I had the pleasure to make my humble contribution to these results, and now leave it in Fiona's hands to go for platinum. So as always, behind every success there is a burning spirit, and it's great that Kacha is with us. And as far as gender equality in Montenegro is concerned, she has been behind most of the major breakthroughs. I will always remember how we were meeting all the leaders of political parties, by the way, all men, of course, to convince them that they should have every second person on the list a woman, and how we pushed for the quotas, and already now we see some results. We have been working also on economic empowerment, and we also put together a law and protocol to end violence in the family. And I know that now under Fiona's leadership, the team is continuing and it's going even farther. So it's wonderful to have you here. Fiona, Kacha, please. Here we go. Yeah. Congratulations. Well done. Yeah, Kacha.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and thank you for Rasto particularly for recognizing Katya's contribution. But really, dear colleagues, dear guests, and dear Gender Equality SEAL team, members of the senior management team, as everyone maybe knows, I joined UNDP as the resident representative in June 2015, when this process was well underway. To be honest, I was a bit skeptical. Was this an example of UNDP talking to itself? What was the point of this complex benchmarking matrix with performance measures against 7 categories? But 3 very positive aspects surprised me in the process. Firstly, how comprehensive the definition of mainstreaming was, and how reviewing how well different parts of the office had absorbed the gender mainstreaming beyond the simplistic measures of family-friendly policies or recruitment was a really good indicator of how well their work reflected other values. I undertook a slight reorganization of the office based on those early findings, and probably wouldn't have realized so quickly that one part of the office was working quite independently. Secondly, the progress can be made over time, and with dedicated efforts, potentially address the structural aspects of gender inequality. There's more to be done on violence in the family, on encouraging women entrepreneurs, and I believe in women's access to land and property rights for women. But there are impressive results that have been achieved in terms of women's political participation, and work with women's groups that Rasto has referred to will hopefully find the basis for better progress in the future. Also, within the office and beyond the gender programme, routine personnel management systems are in place. Team leaders have gender goals in their annual work plans, and the administration team actively promotes policies around the work-life balance. A UN country team thematic group on gender and human rights is active across the agencies, and UNDP recently supported them in tailoring capacity assessment and gender training. Also, I want to credit Katia with work that UNDP has done in now supporting pre-accession work on gender mainstreaming with EU support, and the UN Women Regional Programme focusing on violence against women, and implementation of the Istanbul Convention is done with UNDP in Montenegro. But with all that, there's no room for complacency. For example, people still struggle with titles, and I usually find that Mrs. trumps Ms. when seeking to address me with respect. Similarly, in thinking about new programs in the office, staff by default often reinforce traditional family values or family income earning potential. And we dealt with one example of that last week. So it's necessary to question those assumptions and look for continuous design from a gender perspective. So it must all be part of an ongoing effort. But I'd like to acknowledge the contribution of previous resident representatives to the country office who not only recruited the staff that lead this work now, but also put the conditions for success in place, particularly Rasto, who led those efforts before I arrived, and also to thank the Gender Equality Steel team for this enriching experience. We're grateful to learn from you and have been thrilled to be recognized as a successful office today. Bharati and Barbara have been a great support in the process, Raquel and Kalyani inspiring through their feminist solidarity. Thank you.
Thanks a lot to Montenegro team. We will now continue with silver. We have two of those. We are going to start with Albania. Albania has been, you may remember, one of the 9 pilots for delivering as one, and of course this kind of work cannot be done overnight. So I'm really grateful that Zineb, who has been resident coordinator, resident representative there and started this work, is with us as well. So office again has been central in helping Albania in putting together gender equality strategy, gender equality law. Gender issues are central for their social inclusion strategy, so work across the pillars. So I'm very happy that Limia, country director from Albania, is with us tonight, but also I would like to recognize Entela and Edlira, brilliant national staff in country office who has contributed significantly to this successful result. Limia.
I'm honored to be here. Honored on behalf of a great and committed team that is extremely passionate about gender. I'm accepting this on their behalf. All their efforts, all their contributions, in the least of Zainab's enormous contributions. You should be up here, the RC, the RR that was in place before us. I was also involved in the Gender Seal process in Bahrain. And if I combine those two experiences, I think UNDP has to be proud of this tool that we've put in place. Proud about it not only because it accelerates the discussion and the programs around gender equality, but also proud about it because it opens the door for conversations about other inequalities. So through the gender seal process, you start off talking about gender equalities and inequalities, but actually the process itself enriches the teams and the leadership of the country office and opens the door to many, many other conversations. It opens the door to institutionalizing instruments for gender equality, but for other equalities. It opens the door to discussing the enabling environment. That's humongous, because the enabling environment and the rates in the GSS are not just about gender. It's about the type of leadership, the types of teams, the types of programs that you have in place. It opens the door for, at least in the cases I've been in, to really consider documentation and showcasing and the importance of evidence in everything we do. And last but definitely not least, it allows us to connect the dots. Connect the dots between management and the rest of the team, connect the dots between operations and programs, and definitely connect the dots between the various programs and pillars and how to make them work with each other instead of in silos. I want to share a few, very brief, I know it's been a long day for many of us, but very briefly, I just wanted to share a few examples from Albania. In Albania, there's the famous STAR project, which supported the government in its territorial reform from 373 local units to now 61 municipalities. The new STAR project has a gender expert and an environment expert institutionalized in the project. And those two experts help at the local level, the municipalities, not just the strategic work that we all do and not just the legislation that we all work on, but really at the municipal local government level. One of the things they have been able to do is they've helped 30 municipalities in engendering their local development operational plans and having gender objectives. That is huge when UNDP contributes to over half of a country's local development plans and making sure that they are gender sensitive. Also, for the first time in Albania, the third national communication on environment has a chapter on gender and has specific objectives on gender. I won't mention all of the work that's done at the grassroots level with NGOs and civil society. I won't mention, maybe I will mention, the work that's being done on violence, which is a huge issue that's not discussed enough. In over 30 of the municipalities, half of the country, UNDP is supporting the establishment of coordinated community response mechanisms through which, whether it's females who have suffered violence or families or children who have suffered violence, can actually go and get referrals and get support, coordinated support that is from police, that is from the judiciary, that is from the hospitals, that is from the schools, that is from the housing. It's huge. But the challenges are still there. I think most of you know that Albania these days is going through an elections. It's just coming up. It's been postponed to the 25th. The government, the legislation says that 50% of the party nominees should be women. But unfortunately, most of the parties are not ready. They don't have 50%. They're clamoring. They're trying to find ways to come up with the names and numbers. So what does that mean? That means that actually the candidates that will be put forward may not be fit for actually the job or for promoting the issues or for further promoting gender equality. So what we really have to do is really look beyond the surface and the numbers and really see what those numbers do. We just had a study commissioned that the results just came out like 2 weeks ago. In the last elections of councillors, local councillors, through this sort of quota, the number of female local councillors rose from 12% in the 2011 elections to 35% in 2015. But what this study showed us is actually the female councillors speak only once or twice in their meetings. Much, much less than the male counselors. Are they promoting gender issues? Only a few of them, 1/3 of them. Are they, because they are female, are they getting more females around the table to discuss at the local level? No. So actually the work we need to do is not way beyond the numbers, and when we do that, we will aspire for gold.
Thank you very much, Limia. Well said. Second gold, and the last representative present here from our region is, and which gives me great pleasure, is our generous host in Turkey. Turkish country office has been very successful in supporting country in tremendous task of supporting 2.5 million refugees which are being hosted by the country through free legal aid, working with Ombudsman Office, reflecting gender issues. So I would like to hand over the certificate to Gökçe, a representative from the office. Congratulations. And Gökçe, floor is yours.
Actually, it's more than 3 million now. Okay. Today, it's my privilege to be among you on behalf of UNDP Turkey country team. As Turkey country team, we have been working so long and so far for women's empowerment and gender equality. Thanks to Gender Equality Seal program, we were able to see what we did well and where we need improvement. Gender Equality Seal provided us an effective tool that systemizes and strengthens our steps. I'm thankful for all the collaboration and support we received from Gender Equality Seal team, regional office, and other colleagues from country offices. I see Kaja here, dear Barati, dear Barbara, and Randy, and Victoria, and Raquel, and Yoso. Each of you, maybe I forget some of you, please forgive me for this. And I'm very thankful among you who are working wholeheartedly to achieve the ultimate goal of gender equality and human rights. It is so encouraging, hopeful, and empowering for us. As the UNDP country team, we are honored to receive this certificate, silver certificate. But the other valuable effort for us is our effort, is the strong gender equality perspective that our team has built. It will be transformed into a more gender transformative results soon. In the course of this program, our country office have taken significant steps to internalize gender equality as an indispensable part of our everyday work. And we realized and internalized the fact that gender mainstreaming is a collective responsibility which requires solidarity and mutual empowerment. Now we know better that our only role is not to be the technicians who integrate the corporate gender equality results into every implementation as a corporate requirement. And we can clearly identify why we need to struggle for gender equality and women's empowerment, why we need to have gender mainstreaming in the center of sustainable development. We rebuild the connection and strengthen the ties between our professional and personal lives. And we recognizing the politics within our personal lives. At the end of the day, all we do is to build a life in which we all, without leaving no one behind, could realize our biggest, bestest, most powerful selves, as Emma Watson says in one of her speeches. Could there be a more valid, precious, and common goal to work for? Thank you all.
Wonderful, wonderful, Gökçe. Magdi, we have 3 more, right? But they couldn't be with us tonight.
It is my pleasure, therefore, to give you the certificates of the country officers that cannot be with us. And I mentioned them: silver seal to Armenia and Kosovo, and bronze to Belarus. And I will also like to join those who have congratulated Arbek and the Center in Istanbul, Barati and Barbara, and the whole team that has supported your country offices.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now, with a strong encouragement, as SDG 5 and SDG 2 seem to be pitted against each other, and hunger comes to the table, I would like to invite Haoliang Shu, the Assistant Secretary General Director of RBAP, to please join us at the podium. Haoliang.
Thank you very much, Magdi. Thank you, Murada, for changing the order, because we have today, as you know, Oceans Conference started. We have a lot of seats. There's an important reception. I think Magdi and Jessica and me are supposed to go, so I have to really rush to go there. So thank you very much. But as you see that the leadership of all regional bureaus are here today, it just underscores the commitment that we all have, for the cause of gender equality. And many people talked about leaving no one behind. I think pursuing gender equality is the concrete manifestation of the way that we achieve this goal. And in Asia Pacific, I think with the support of BPPS, the gender team, Randy, and also our regional advisor, Ko, who is present, and we have been working with the country offices to advance this goal. And I'm happy that 5 of our country offices received the silver certification for gender seal. And today we only have the new resident representative and the resident coordinator from Indonesia, Anita Nirodi, here to receive this goal. So thank you. Now, for Indonesia office, I think we all agree that in this day and age, whatever UNDP does, we have to look at the impact, right? Because if UNDP cannot have an impact through what we do, I think then we will not distinguish ourselves as the most important development agency of the UN. I would say that what the Indonesia office done has achieved that goal of having an impact. And through the teamwork, ahead of the 2018 general elections, the country office managed to work with the parliament to revise the election law so that the quota for female candidates was raised from 20% to 30%. And that had a major impact on the election process. So I think this is partly why the office received this silver certificate. So congratulations. And also, the country office has strongly supported the national policy dialogue. And one of the results is initiation by UNDP of legislation about sexual gender-based violence. And that initiative has been accepted by the parliament. Now there's a draft legislation in the parliament that is being moved forward. So with this teamwork, with a focus on impact and results, so I congratulate the Indonesia office, for receiving this silver certificate. Actually, I left my silver certificate on the table, so and, maybe can you give it to me? Right. Okay. Right. Now there are a few colleagues that I was asked to recognize. I mentioned, so this is a certificate. Okay, right. Thank you. So there's a few colleagues I should recognize. Obviously, the country, the colleagues, right? The former res rep who, Doug Broderick, who just retired last month. Stephen, I see here, was a deputy country director there, now country director somewhere else in greener pasture. And of course, the country director, the deputy country director, but also specifically the gender team, okay, Astiti Sakatri Taksana, okay, from the country office, and also Isabel Duncan, and also the gender focal team in the country office. As I mentioned, our gender colleagues at the regional level and the global level. So thank you very much. Wish you all the best. Continued success.
Thank you all. Haoliang has actually said it all. I've just been in Jakarta for a month. But just let me say one word, which is the office has seen this award as a process of continuous learning. And so having gotten the silver, there's a huge engagement now to move towards a higher target. And we're all very excited about that. It's 6 a.m. right now in Jakarta. And just before we came on to the stage, so to speak, I got an email from a colleague asking whether this was going to be live streamed. But they're so excited. They're so excited. So I asked Randy, and she says it's going to be on YouTube tomorrow. So they're going to see this. And so this award is essentially for all of them. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm waiting for my other words. Okay.
Thank you very much. You've seen a clear demonstration that Haoliang is capable of doing in 30 seconds what the rest of us need 30 minutes for. It is my pleasure, Haoliang, to award the Silver Seal to Malaysia, Mongolia, Vietnam, and Afghanistan. Heartiest congratulations to your country. And finally, it is my distinct pleasure to request the presence of Murad Wahba at the podium. Murad?
Yes, it'll be quick. I think you have to give it.
I'm supposed to.
You're supposed to give it to me.
So
the one, no.
Murad has no speech. He's speechless because Morocco has been awarded, and I want to congratulate Morocco for their perseverance, for their commitment, with a special mention to the leadership of Aishani, whom we have met in other assignments around the COP and work on climate change. The country office, my notes say, has clearly contributed to the achievement of national gender equality goals, raising awareness for gender-based violence prevention and increasing women's participation and leadership roles in disaster risk reduction projects, amongst other achievements. So with heartiest congratulations to Morocco and to Arbat.
Thank you very much. Now I have something to say. Well, thank you very much, Magdi, and allow me also to thank your gender team, Randy and Raquel, for their super work. Allow me also to welcome Francis back to the region in a new capacity this time, and to thank Lino Khedwa and Kauter Zerwali for their work in the past year. We only have one country that has had an award, so my speech will be perhaps short, and very much feel, if this is the Oscar moment, like Johnny Depp, who comes regularly but never quite gets it. There are two reasons. I was thinking about why we only had one country and for the award. And the two that I was given by my colleagues who always try to look out for me is the first, that we have a third of our countries in conflict, and the second is that there's a cultural bias perhaps against women in the region. I think neither of these reasons is valid. I believe that countries in conflict have done very, very well in this room today, and I just want to congratulate those who have done so. But I think conflict affects women disproportionately, and Oh, good. And I think humanitarian crises also are not gender neutral. And I believe that this is an obligation on us to do better. As for the cultural bias, I think we work in the United Nations for a reason. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Murad. And as you know, as the son of an Arab woman, I absolutely relate to what you just said in every single point. I'd like to thank you all for the patience and the kindness with which you have listened to the speeches. To all those who have prepared speeches, for the care and the seriousness and the intent that this is not just coming here and saying a few words without giving it importance. I appreciate that you take this seriously as the serious work that it represents every day of our country offices. I also appreciate the very relaxed and generous and kind atmosphere that you can breathe in the room, the wonderful work, Randy, that you and Raquel and the team have done to host us tonight, and the work that we do thank you. And the work that we do 365 days a year to promote gender equality. Congratulations to the awardees. To the others, please keep pushing and enjoy your meal, enjoy your drinks.